Hey, how are you? Can you hear me, Solange?
Yes, sorry. I'm good. I'm good. I'm really good.
Good.
Got a bit of a delay. Let me get these
Oh,
properly here.
maybe there's a bit of a
Hmm.
delay. That's okay. That can sometimes happen, but we'll hopefully that will kind of balance out. It was so wonderful to get an email from you, like not last year, not this year, but the year before, t- telling me of the inaugural Black British Theatre Awards and that you
Hmm.
would love me to come and sing at it. And oh my goodness,
It was amazing.
what
It
an
was amazing.
amazing experience. I mean,
Yes.
to be surrounded by people of my community who were amazing at what they do, and they gave me a standing ovation, and I was so overwhelmed. I was so honored. I felt, we had people like Sharon D. Clark and all the people from Hamilton in the room,
Mm.
and Shyla Coke and Cheryl Skeet, and just all these wonderful actors, actresses, dancers, singers. I mean, I just really want to tell you that it was such an honor, and I'm so happy that people are going to hear about these awards today because they made an incredible difference on people's lives.
Oh, thank you. I mean, yeah, it was an honor to have you there for sure.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, no, it was a beautiful evening.
Yeah, it was.
Really was.
It
It
was.
really was.
Oh wow, 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 wow.
Mm,
So
mm.
yeah, so um, hi everybody. I am Nadine Benjamin, and I am a certified high performance coach. I am a international opera singer, and I am also a accredited NLP mind coach. What does NLP stand for? It's neuro, the brain, linguistic, how we speak to the brain, and programming, the different patterns that we set up in our mind to for good or sometimes for challenge. And I will be somebody that really supports somebody to kind of build better beliefs and crack their limiting beliefs, so it does something to actually give you a kind of vision and a kind of confidence and a kind of knowing that you can change how you think, because how we think is how we feel, and how we feel is how we act. And so this morning, I am joined by Solange Urdang, and I'm so happy to have her here. Solange trained at the Urdang Academy lower and upper schools, as well as at the High School of Performing Arts in New York during her studies. Solange then went on to have a successful career, mainly in commercial dance, theatre, and within the music industry, before going on to study art and design. Becoming CEO of the Urdang Academy in 2001, Solange has since developed it to be one of the UK's most prolific vocational colleges with an internationally renowned reputation. She negotiated and implemented the successful move to the Old Finsbury Town Hall in Islington from Covent Garden, the expansion into the Urdang 2 premises, as well as establishing Urdang International. Solange has spent her career pushing boundaries and building cultural bridges, and sits on various panels promoting and developing diversity in professional music, musical theatre, and dance training. She's co-founder and co-director of the Black British Theatre Awards, Black Theatre and Film Productions, and the Black Theatre and Film Directory. She's also the founder of Link Talent Agency, a patron of Palace of the Dogs and Jason Thomas Performing Arts. Solange comes from an impressive family of activists, born to the late Leonie Urdang, founder of the Urdang Academy, who fled South Africa in the 60s to London after witnessing apartheid and its injustices. Solange is involved and passionately supports various charity-based performing arts projects both in the UK and Cape Town, South Africa, in particularly BBTA Outreach and Denis Goldberg's House of Hope. Oh, wow. What an impressive thing to hear about.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, as I always say, everybody, neither Solange or I are doctors or medical care professionals. We're just here that you come into connection with the subjects that we're talking about, with the discussions that we're having. And it's a way for you also to connect with us. So please use the live chat. Please ask questions if you want. Please say hello. Let everybody know that you're there. And if you know somebody that's having difficulty or trouble connecting right now and is lonely, if you're lonely, pick up the phone and reach out. Let's stay in connection. Send someone an email, send someone a video message, send someone a WhatsApp. Just let someone knock on your neighbour's door, put some chocolates out front their door, or put a note just to let everybody know that it's okay to reach out and connect. And remember, today I would love you to think about, what would you love to manifest in your life right now? Remember, the world may seem like it's on hold, but we're not on hold. So think about, have something to look forward to. Do you want to clean out a cupboard? Do you want to sew a button back on a jacket? Do you want to make sure that all your shoes are lovely and polished? Think of something to look forward to, something that has an end goal, because how we think, again, as I keep saying, is how we feel, and how we feel is how we act. Anyway, that's enough of me for this morning. Let's get to Solange. Solange, tell us, what is your route into theatre?
I was born into it.
Really?
Yeah, so my mother, the late founder of the Urdang Academy, at the time had a dance school in a church hall in Belsize Park. And yeah, she was teaching ballet there, and I was born, and I would be in a cot in the studio.
Wow.
So that's how it started. Obviously, as theatres and shows went on over the years, I would be there. So, you know, I'd run around the theatre whilst my late mother was putting on a show or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, so and then in 1978 she moved the school into Covent Garden, and that's when it exploded. And I trained there from the age of 9 to the age of 18. So yeah, so I spent a lot of time there.
What was it like? What was it like? Like, you know, like, did you choose what you wanted to do at the age of 9, or was it the case of that you just fell into the things that you loved?
No, I did choose, and I was challenged at the time. And even at one point, I went to a normal school, a non-vocational school, for about a year to sit my O-levels at the time, and decided to come back again.
Oh, wow.
And that's because I didn't want to become a ballet dancer.
Yeah.
So obviously I was trained as a ballet dancer, decided I didn't want to do it, but then I came back to become a jazz dancer, as it were.
And what was the difference, the major difference between, what did it feel, the difference between being the ballet dancer and the jazz dancer? Was there a sense of freedom for you, or?
Well, I mean, at Urdang at the time, it was a ballet school, but you still did modern tap, drama, singing, you know, all the other stuff. And as much as I liked doing ballet, I wasn't amazing at it, and I realized that, you know, I wouldn't make a ballet company. And but I really loved jazz and contemporary, and so then I decided to go back and train in that. Which
eventually ended you up in New York training.
No, that was actually when I was 14 or 15. So I went to School of Performing Arts over in New York, purely because my father lived there.
Wow.
So yeah, I went over there for a little while, and it had a big impact, and that's why I tend to tell a lot of people about it, because if you look at, even with diversity, it was so much more integrated there than in the UK at the time, and my experience will always stay with me.
And did you think, in terms of education, in terms of, you know, Britain and New York, what that was, or England and New York, was there a huge difference in how you were taught?
No, actually, it wasn't. It was just a lot more upbeat. That's how I remember it. It being a lot more upbeat, a lot faster. But actually, I mean, I was put into the ballet group. Although we went to see Amadeus, we went to see loads of Broadway shows, and it wouldn't just be a group, the whole school would be there. So it was quite insane. So even if they weren't necessarily musical theatre performers, everyone would go to the show, whatever it was, on Broadway and stuff. So that to me was really exciting.
Yeah. And so why did your mum, the late Leonie Urdang, why did she, what was her brainchild for coming up with the Urdang Academy? Because I mean, you run that now, don't you?
Yeah. Well, that's her name. Her maiden name is Urdang, and I think my family are very proud Urdangs. And it was initially called the Urdang Academy of Ballet and Performing Arts. And then it got known as the Urdang Academy.
And what has it evolved into now, the Urdang Academy, if you
musical theatre. I think especially when all the smaller ballet companies folded, a lot of the students went on to musicals. And so that's how it started, really. And I loved musicals. I always have done. I used to sing as well. So I think for me, it was quite a natural step, where for my late mother, because she was a ballet person, it wasn't as easy to adapt as it was for me.
And so at Urdang, do they have like musical theatre classes, but do they also have, so does that mean that they have acting and dance and all those other subject matters that come up in relation to it? Oh, wow.
Yeah, they do everything. They do everything, from acting through song to ballet to tap to jazz to contemporary to musical theatre jazz to street dance to acting, straight acting. I mean, they do it all. It's a tough course.
Oh, wow. And how long does it run for?
3 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Good morning, Linda. Thank you. Lovely to see you this morning. So we're here to talk about this morning is the Black British Theatre Awards. And I just really want to find out, and for you to share with everybody, how did it start, why did it start, what were your thought processes, and just please just share with us.
Okay, so I've known Omar, the co-director, since I remember taking summer school kids from Urdang to see Five Guys Named Mo, and he used to teach for Urdang at the time, as well as being in the West End. So I've known him for years. And anyway, so on Facebook, an agent put a comment up there about BAME casting.
I remember that.
And the Vavavoom comment. So Omar had quite a lot of professionals, I'd say, comment, because he put his feelings up there about it, and loads of people commented, and I said, is there not a Mobo's for theatre? Literally. Like, that's terrible that, this is happening. I mean, we all knew it was happening, don't get me wrong, in the industry, although I'd say it's got a bit better. But so I said, is there not a way to celebrate all these performers? And then underneath, people commenting, no, maybe, I don't know. So then I inboxed Omar and I said, look, I'm going to research this, because there must be. Maybe we could get involved. And after 3 days of researching, there was nothing. And so I said to Omar, well, let's do it. let's do our own awards, thinking it was going to be a really small affair, maybe 40 or 50 people. So I said, well, let's launch it and see what the reaction is before we do our first awards, to see if this is going to work. So we started asking around for testimonials, and they came in thick and fast. And then the launch, which was at the Century Club in Shaftesbury Avenue, and they sponsored us, actually. That was already starting to show signs of how much this is going to work. And we had a waiting list for the launch. And so, yeah, that was it. We were like, oh, wow, this is definitely going to work. So then we went live for the first lot of nominations.
Yes.
And that led to the ceremony that you sang at.
Wow. And
Yeah.
and in terms of, how do you feel that the awards now are affecting, other artists? And because I know for me, it was such a, it was overwhelming and exciting. And yeah, there are no words really to be in a room surrounded by people that I'd seen on screen for years, or on stages for years, and had in sporadic times, but to have everybody in the room at the same time was just blew me away.
I know, it was phenomenal.
Yeah. So what kind of feedback are you getting from actors and people within the industry about the awards?
Oh, very, very positive. I mean, especially this year, when we did go onto Sky Arts, because obviously we had to do it via film somehow this year because of the circumstances. And the idea is to illuminate talent, black talent. And it's really important to do that because there is a sense of being overlooked, and a lot of people have realized that over the years. And so we just had to step it up, and we just thought by celebrating, and for me as an educator, it's role models, for sure, because my black students find it very hard to see themselves in the industry, and I just wanted to do something about that. That's the main reason.
And you've got to see, you've got to see somebody in front of you, you've got to see who you want to be, and I really identify with the thing around celebration, because Everybody Can, my mentor scheme, is all about connecting, championing and celebrating. These Safe at Home sessions are all around connecting, championing and celebrating. It's really important to have that moment of celebration, and I think sometimes with the word BAME, which I've now inverted to beam, as in the beam of light in all of us, because I cannot stand it.
No.
So I kind of call it a beam of light now, and I've created a show around that as well. So because I just feel like it has to be about celebration. It's got to be about a way of not being the person who is the kind of what's the word, the weak link, or the what would be expressed as the token person in the it's more than that. It's a lot more than that. I mean, what would you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, I've never liked the word BAME, and we have to, as an educator, do returns on that basis, which I find very strange. But I just think it's representation, really. I just think it's really important, and it's got to climb. It's got to climb on the creative side as well. We had our first casting director nominee this year. And, that's really important. It's so important for performers to know that there are, black people in the room, and they can aspire to be that person as well. As on stage.
And you chose two women, one last year and one this year, as their Lifetime Achievement Award. So last year you had Sharon D. Clark, and this time you had Shirley Thompson. I mean, two phenomenal women in their reputation, one in theatre, one in music. How do you go about making those choices?
Well, the names are nominated. Although with all the categories, it's the nominees will make a winner by numbers. We also have a panel of judges to make sure everything is viable, and if there's any close draws, that it's it's been debated. But as far as the Lifetime Achievement, we get names and we look at the top few names that have been nominated, and as a panel, we decide who it should be. And there's so many. I mean, you thought we're tempted to do more than one every year, but that wouldn't be fair. So, we just wanted somebody in, again, it's role modeling, someone that really is, paid their dues, respected, and also, for me, again, it's role modeling and showing.
So what do you see the future of the Black British Theatre Awards being? What would you like to see for it in the future?
Well, we've just about to launch the Black Theatre and Film Directory.
Wow, amazing.
So that's going to support the BBTAs or vice versa. We'll see what happens. But basically, it'll be a directory for Black creatives, Black performers in film, theatre, internationally, not just in the UK. So hopefully the idea will be when people travel, they can find talent wherever they are. So that's the next step, which we're hoping to do before Christmas. So people over Christmas have something to do. They can register. It'll be free for the first year, and then it'll be a small amount after that, just to keep the hosting and the running of it. The BBTAs, this year we're going to have to rethink it slightly because there won't be many shows to nominate from. So we've got to sit down and work out what shows there are and how we get the nominations in. But next October we'll be back again with the BBTAs for sure. And hopefully we'll be able to have a big room full of people. This year we could only invite a few. Because of obviously the COVID restrictions and stuff. So hopefully next year we can have a big party.
So if there's anybody out there that wants to, build a creative company in the arts, because effectively that's what you have, isn't it? Like a creative company in the arts. What 3 tips kind of would you say to them? What would you give them?
Persistence, for sure. You really have to push stuff through in the creative industry. Plan as much as you can and try and stay on track. And and just be passionate about what you're doing, because that's the thing that will take you through all the ups and downs. For sure, is passion.
I mean, if you were to say to someone, what your biggest challenges have been maybe within it and maybe how you've turned it around, have you got an example of that you could share with us?
Well, the BBTAs, no, because everyone is so enthusiastic and supportive. With Urdang, the funding's gone up and down and, there has been hard times. And you just have to, sacrifice in order for it to happen and try and see the future rather tin the now and try and work towards, making things right again. Yeah,
it's that thing, isn't it? Always having something to look forward to. As I was saying.
Absolutely. You sort of almost have to ignore what's going on right now. And focus on, getting out of it. Because, unfortunately, vocational training isn't funded that well. And so, you're always having challenges.
And I think at Urdang as well, do you have, like, as well as the kind of musical theatre and stuff, do you have the mentor side? Because I think you were going to start some kind of mentoring side alongside the BBTAs now, aren't you?
So the BBTA's outreach, we had our first online Zoom, and we try and persuade nominees to become mentors. And so we did it was a full day. It was amazing. On the 18th of October via Zoom. Next year, hopefully it'll be face to face. And now from those kids that attended, they can now apply for, or the older ones can apply for mentorship. So they will then be, you know, paired with a mentor who will, you know, meet with them every now and then and invite them to rehearsals and shows. And as well as that, there's costume and lighting. So it's not necessarily just performers. We are looking at changing people's views of backstage staff. And, you know, because say a black costume designer isn't seen, you know, for me, again, as a role model, they need to be seen in order to make sure the next generation realise it's an option.
Yeah, I mean, I love what you're talking about, role modelling and scene. And I think even within the opera industry as well, where, you know, we're constantly working towards, you know, changing what the back of the system looks like as well as the front of the system. So we can have more equal kind of representation, I suppose. In everywhere. And you're right, it's important for people to be seen so they can be celebrated, so people know they're there.
Absolutely. There's a cycle to this. So the outreach was really important to underpin the awards. Because it's like, you know, you go to see I don't know, Hamilton, they do free matinees for schools, but these kids need to know how to get from watching the show to being part of a show, and it's really important to give that information.
And I think mentorship, I really believe in mentorship. I mean, a lot of the people that, you know, that I would have as my kind of heroes in opera, when I look back at all their careers, they were all mentored. And not just on a week, not just on a month by month basis either. You know, they got their careers by spending massive blocks of time with people that took them through. And, you know, it comes back into that space of apprenticeship as well, you know, learning the craft through someone. And I was a YTS. So, you know, I was a YTS, not for the arts, but in business administration. So I was a YTS. And, you know, the experience that I got from working alongside someone who was, you know, a role model, exactly what you're saying, for me to be able to copy and to go, and ask questions of immediately, you know, grew my career in the corporate setting or in merchant banking really quickly. And I think that's something that we could really learn from in the arts, in that sense of, you know, just really having these role models walk alongside us so we can, you know, sometimes get out at a new level of the lift without having to have done, you know, some of the flaws that we don't actually have to do if we were working alongside someone. So
absolutely. And I think if someone's really talented, they almost, you know, they do need to be placed and alongside people that will, you know, give them the right information and encourage talent.
Linda is saying the BBTA is such a wonderful initiative, Solange. Yes, it is really important for people to be seen and recognised. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been wonderful to have you on today. Thank you so much for just shedding a little light on the world of the Black British Theatre Awards. And it's really lovely, and really lovely to hear a little bit of your story as well about you just live and breathe this stuff, Solange.
I know. I think you have to, though. I mean, you have to.
You were born into it, you know, and you're still living it. And that is so wonderful. I mean, I'm sure that anybody who is mentored or is under your guise will go a very, very long way just for the wealth of knowledge and passion and love of the arts and the business that you're doing. And it's so wonderful that you've got Omar alongside you for these awards, because he is also a very incredible man. I might get him on the show at some point.
Oh, you should,
and get him to come and explain, because he's all into dance as well, isn't he? So
absolutely, he was a trained dancer.
So it would be great to kind of have a look at his window and things and see. But thank you so much for joining us. Take care, everybody.
Pleasure. Thank you.
And we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.